let me show you how I do my cute little sharks. Now, the thing with sharks is that you would need to have one for the face and one for an arm design. I have three. I have one for around the eye. I have one for on the cheek if they don't have a particularly large forehead, or I have one for the arm. So I have to change the designs around, but really what I need to do is make sure that I have the right cake for a shark that has a little bit of a darker outline. Here I normally use Indigo Princess because it's my go-to blue for Elsa's sharks, dolphins and things like that, because I'd use so many of them. Now you can find this in the Pretty Rainbow palette, that's Indigo Princess here. Or there's another blue here, which is Dolphin Splash in the Princess palette. But a blue's a staple in your kit, so this is one of my most used, which is Indigo Princess. But I did want to show you, if you have a palette, you can use this one or use this one. Just going to move those out of the way for the moment because I will be using this cake. And I'm also going to be using this cake here, which is Flaming Tiger. Now, Flaming Tiger has a gradation of oranges and yellows, so I use that for lots of different designs. This side Pokemon, all of it for tigers or monarch butterflies. But I can also, in a pinch, if I'm busy, use this red end bit for Spider-Man designs, and I also use it for the inside of my shark's mouth. So I'll be using this cake, that cake, Indigo Princess, and just some white. Brush I'll be using is Leanne's Rainbow Angle Brush. I like this for my sharks for around the eye. And I'm just going to show you how to load. This is called a one stroke if you are really new. My name's Leanne Courtney. I'm a face paint designer. My brand is sold all worldwide, Leanne's Collection, by Fusion Body Art if you're actually looking for this. So there's Fusion manufactures it. And so anyway, let's just start. Enough about me. I've got a water spritzer here. It's water activated face paint. It's FDA and EU compliant to be used as face paint on children's skin. Incredibly safe and used by artists all over the world. So I'm just spritzing from a little bit of a distance. And I've already preloaded my brush so that it just doesn't, just for speed for the video. So I just load in very, very straight lines. Now, this one, it doesn't matter if you wiggle around a little bit, but definitely if you're using, say, a rainbow cake, you want to load in really straight lines. And I just get into a good habit of loading in straight lines. So just letting that excess water run down to the bottom so that my paint doesn't muddy. And now I've got this fully loaded up. I really want to do it on my arm. I do have some practice sheets here, but I just want to imagine. So imagine if your eye is here and here on a child. So your brush needs, and say the eyebrow's probably around here and here. You want to come around just past the eyebrow. So just past the eyebrow, and you pop that brush down flat and just start dragging it around the edge of the eye. And then when you get to this side here, you're just going to loop it out like this and then pull it back in like that. See, you're getting that really nice shape. Come back in here, and then we're pulling that around and down, and that's going to form, and we're just pulling that to the side. See how I'm making that shape there? And sort of that sharp edge. That's going to end up just at the top of the cheek there. Now what I then do is come around, flip my brush around, come around, and I'm going over that because now I want to make the mouth bit here. And so I'm really letting that brush do all of the work. And then it's a little bit dry now. So if I wasn't talking and explaining it, that would have done like a whole design really easily. But I'm just re-spritzing and reloading my brush. Depending on what country you're in, you might want to see about re-dipping and things like that. But for me in Australia, I'm fine. And then see, I've got that C there. Well, his eye probably should be a bit further out because I need a little bit of red there. Then I'm just meeting that. See here, I'm just literally meeting that and flipping that around and coming here. So, but then I bring that down and just blend it out. There you go. And it's just coming like that. And then the tail is just like this and that. It's like just little flicks, really. I might go in then and just add a little bit of white underneath here with, that was the Leanne's Rainbow Round Brush. And then just go back in here and just probably just add like a little fin here. So you've got that round edge part around the eye, that part there. And where this red comes in, you don't have to do this, but I quite like it and it makes it look really good. I just grab a Fusion Petal Art sponge. I just rub into that edge. This is just how even how I do my Spider-Man designs, because I can just sort of scoop that in around a quarter of a design. And I'll just pat a little bit of red. That eye's a bit close, but you get the idea that you'd put it a bit further out than that. And you can sort of put a little bit of red there for there. I might, sometimes I add a red eye, but I'm just gonna put that brush I used here. And then I'd actually get a little bit smaller brush. I think I've only got a number 2 handy to do the finer details, but I would normally actually grab a number 3. My number 3, because my number 2 I use for really fine detail work, but it's actually probably going to work really well for the eye anyway. And the teeth, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to just curve that around, and you don't have to do this, and just make him a bit angry, this shark, all right? So he's a little bit angry there. I also add, now apparently one child said to me the fish has 5 gills, the shark has 5 gills. So I'm just adding a bit more white to that, and that's just, I'm going in with my number 2. And depending on how thick you want the teeth, and I'm just flicking that in like that over that red paint. And again, I should have done the eye a little bit harder further over there. I just kind of highlight some sharks. I can do with this, just add a few little, you don't need to do that, that's a bit fancy. But once you get this shark down pat, it's actually quite easy to do, because you could see the simple brush strokes actually make it easy, because you really just, it's a wrist movement of pulling it around, flipping it, pulling it in, pulling it down, and then pulling it around, just blending that out a little bit. And then, so you need to just do your five gills, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll just highlight that with a little bit of a there. So that's a pretty quick shark. The eyes should probably be here on the child, and then you've got like that little bit of red, but just make sure where the eyebrow is here, you've come out on an angle here. So I'm messing the design up, but I just want you to know the key points is keep that angle there nice and sharp, and look, really that is coming around to here, and then you're just flicking that out a little bit, and just make sure that's coming, their temple would be about here. That's just a tiny little thing there. So, and that's coming right around their mouth. So I've sort of messed that design up, but you need to understand the angles that you're painting with there. And yeah, that's probably one of my, that's a speedy design. I do that in a minute and a half. I really love it. Wonder if I've got anything to wash that off with. I might just go to a piece of this is a faceplate template, and so we use these, but I do honestly recommend that you use your arm to practice on, because you need to understand the drag of the paint and the skin on there. So now for the mouth one, and it's pretty much the same concept for on the mouth one. I'm going to wrap it around a little bit. You can do that on the arm as well, or you can just paint it straight instead of wrapping it around. Just do the same thing straight. So I'm using here a Leanne's Rainbow, a small angle brush. We're working with a smaller area here, and also on the arm, it's harder to control the the bigger brushes for a smaller area. Like it wouldn't turn out as nice, basically. So for my smaller designs, I slip over to my angle brush, and I'm just going to load that dark. You can see I'm just loading those first 3 colors on this, but as I'm pushing, it's loading onto that blue, the 4th blue as well. And this one is the same sort of concept. So just probably down, I don't like to paint too close to the mouth, but you can give the impression that it's sort of diving down there. So again, with that same concept where I did a bit of an angle there, but less of an angle. So the eye angle was up here, coming around. Do you remember here? Coming around. It flipped out, flipped in, flipped around, and then we just flipped out and then flipped our brush. This is like easier to show you on, I guess, like how the design would sit, but just do it nice and neatly like I did. I didn't load it properly. I just wanted to conceptually, it's better for you to understand conceptually how to wrap it around the eye and where this fin would fit. And now I have to flip my paint over because I got sidetracked. So I'm just going to reload that again. And again, just loading up and down, and I wish I could actually stay on track for a face paint video ever. I will when I do professional classes, but for the moment. So here I'm going to start on a little bit of an angle, and I'm just going to pull this up, and I'm rolling it that in my hand. So coming around, same sort of thing, and then up. It's really just a push. So coming around and then push and then pull down, but we want it to be a bit of a swoop, and bring it around. But see how I'm turning my brush, and now it's a straight line. So I can finish that tail off there. And then I'm coming back down here, and look, I'm starting straight, and I'm coming round, and I'm just finishing his mouth because I can fill all of this in. See, with the heel of that brush, I can fill all of that in. And I don't think, for this design, I don't ever worry about painting it perfectly. I feel like that snout's a bit too bent, so I'm not bending that much. And then I'm just coming around really messily, pretty much. And I guess if I was a better painter, this would have been here and there, but I can blend that in. And then just his fin here. If you want to be really particular, you could do like a little second fin there and a little fin here. But honestly, don't worry about those details because you actually don't really need them. You just need it to be shark-like. So if that makes sense, just as long as they believe it's a shark and you tell them it's a shark, it's pretty much a shark. So again, getting that, and I'll just paint along here. And this is where I sort of just start adding a few details. Now this is where I just, because I've got the red out and a little brush instead of the sponge, I've got the red here, so I can just do like a little red eye. I don't even worry about doing the white underbelly on this design when it's on a cheek or an arm. Anything that takes too much extra time, I don't really worry about that. But I mean, you definitely could sort of put that under here and just give that impression of that it's got white underneath, which a shark does. It looks a little bit more lifelike. And then just again grabbing that in, doing your shark, and then doing his teeth, and you can make them a bit messy, doing his gills, 1 2 3 4 5. I highlight that and just bring, like, you can see that stroke's not in that shape, but with my highlight I give that impression that it's got highlight there, like it's got an actual shape. So then I do have to outline in black with this one. So just take my number 2 round again, and I would do it probably with a number 2 round for this because it's sort of finer, and then just you can outline it, but I don't outline it too, like, it's just messy. And you don't need to like outline everything. It doesn't have to be neat because I and faster it's on the job. And the same concept with that eye before. It comes around. The noses have, I don't know whether they have noses, but I'm just putting one in. And you can extend that mouth a little bit if you need that mouth. Okay, round it out a little bit. So that's pretty much how I do my two sharks. You can do that one on the arm or on the cheek, because a lot of the times they might have a really small forehead and you really can't get it round. I never embarrass kids, obviously. I just go, oh, I'd love to do it on your cheek, and it's gonna look like it's gonna come down and eat your nose, or, you know, come down to your mouth and swim in your mouth. I'll probably try not to traumatize them too much, but I just sell the idea without embarrassing them, basically. I do normally just put a little highlight in the eye. That just gives them a bit of character. And so I just wanted to, like, I'm not a particularly fancy, I can paint really, really well, and particularly if I feel like it. But I think that when you're on the job, sort of that, as long as you've got, you know, that push up, pull back and around, you're getting that shape. And then when you're coming up here, come up and twist your brush up. And then when you're coming back down, you've got the darker edge on the outside, come back down and flip it around and just pull it into that little tiny here. And the tail was just a swoop. Now these brushes do all of the work. You can see that they're really sharp, and my angle brush is really sharp as well. And my my rounds are also like really bouncy, and they just sort of work. So now I'm sort of gonna fuss with it because I just like to play with my paint. So basically that's all you need for your two shark designs. You can do teardrops if you want, some splashes. Sorry, it's a bit dry. So you see when it's dry, it drags. You don't want that happening either on the skin. If it's dragging, just add a bit of extra water to your paint. So it should be, again, the paper absorbs paint differently. So that's a real, and I don't often paint on paper. I just wanted to give you an idea of what's happening. So you shouldn't really get any drag marks, see, like that when you're on skin. So I'll show you when I do that on skin. It's a much cleaner. It's much cleaner because your skin's got, like, I guess, a little bit of natural oil in it. So see there, it's much easier to paint on skin than it is on the paper. Anyway, that's my two sharks. I hope that you like them. Sorry if I go off a bit on a tangent. We've got Indigo Princess just to wrap up. We used Flaming Tiger. The blues that we could have used would have been one in the Princess palette here, and one in the Pretty Rainbow palette as well. So if you've got either of those palettes, and that one is, I think most of the Pretty Rainbow palette is sold as singles, and that's the single out of that cake, and I use that a lot. So I use Pro Paraffin White, Fusion Petal Sponges, and these are my, I don't know whether I've got them here, these are my beautiful Leanne's Rainbow brushes. And that's, yeah, that's the number 2 there. The number 3, I have the 3/4 round, the flower brush, and the small angle that you saw, and a small filbert. There you go. I've just done a design without a flower on it. First time ever, I think. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.